Carrrnversations. Okay, you guys, welcome to today's Carrrnversations. I am with Bongokuhle, aka Ushaga.
Zulu.
With
go.
Ushaga. Shaga, firstly, I'm going to ask you just say hi to the people, tell them who you are, and
Hello everyone, Bongokuhle Siyanda. Praise him, Kosi, or better known as Ushaga. That's who I am, and I'm me.
tell us how old you are for perspective.
I'm 22 years old.
22.
I turned 22 in February, and it's been interesting years.
What do you love the most about where you are at right now?
Oh, except for the fact that I have a lot of time to sleep. I love the fact that I've grown so much. I'm in comparison to the last 3 years of what my life was and where I am at now, I feel way matured and way understanding and way accepting and way at peace with what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Not just what has happened, but also what's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but it feels. Whereas in the past, I was frustrated with what the future holds. Now I'm very content and at peace with where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about when you think of being a young black man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you differentiate between being a young man and being a black man? Is there a connect between the two? No, my guy, I'm a young man, and also I'm a young black man. Is there a difference there?
Yeah, but I go it's not something that you see clearly or consciously think about, but you have your moments of being a young man.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are moments where you kind of like need to tap in and wake yourself up and remind yourself. It's almost a reminder. Sometimes a good one and sometimes a bad one. I'm also a young black man.
What does that mean for you, being a young black man?
The good part of it, the good reminder of it for me is very empowering.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rooted. Like it's almost like a way of rooting myself to, listen, you're a young black man. That's the good part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very almost motivational and empowering and encouraging sometimes. But then the other times where you remind yourself, or in certain situations where I'm a young black man, and it's kind of like you question being a young black man. You question how the universe and the world has almost created these hardship and hindrances for us to make it as young black men, and the challenges that we faces and the ancestral challenges that come with that, and
being a young
black man. So those moments are really deep.
What are some? Do you feel why this is so important for me? Specifically, why I make the difference of being young black is because I know there's a difference between I'm a woman and then there's a difference but I'm a black woman. I'm always conscious of there are struggles that come because I'm a black woman. There are certain challenges that come with specifically I'm a black woman, but also there are privileges that come with the fact that I am a black woman.
Definitely.
And I wanted to talk about just where you are being young, and I say being young in the sense of the influence and what the world is saying and who the world expects of you. Do you feel pressure?
I used to.
Okay.
I used to. Different kinds of pressure. First of all, saying kulumangami, I'm going to personalize this because it's the only thing I know about. So now, being the person that I was in high school, did well, ticked all the boxes. Now, Sigmeluham University. So there's that pressure. The pressure of you now being expected to do well.
To still maintain.
And that pressure will go to you subconsciously. As much as I used to tell myself, Yasmin, I don't care what people think. There's a part of you that really cares. And if you don't pay attention to that part of really cares, it takes over in ugly ways. So
I think you focus so much on I don't care,
And-
care, and then you end up really going in the opposite flow
Exactly.
just to prove a
Exactly.
point, which then you
Exactly.
dishonor yourself in the process.
almost that thing where you hate certain things about your parents and you say I'm not gonna become this, and you
and
become
you,
exactly
and you excel.
Exactly. And then you do well. So there was that pressure. So there's a pressure of maintaining or with this exponential growth or exponential success, whatever it was. But then I crashed. Because life happened. So now to answer your question, what does being young means? Being young means we're confused. We don't know what we're doing. We don't get orientated on Uguti, this is how it's like a free world out there. Whereas school was easy for me because they were kind of like trademarks and people who've walked before, and you kind of like know where to step, take what you like.
So really, you felt,
At
did you
Landbo,
feel,
at the school that I went to,
definitely.
definitely,
When you got outside, did you feel freedom?
I felt open playing.
Really?
Like I could become anyone and anything. That's how I felt. I felt like the world presented, especially the university that I went to. It's almost a thing of, listen, you can choose. Like it's either you this, it's either you that. It's like you have so much open space. That's how I felt.
You know what I felt when I went to varsity was I felt Uguti, because I was so clear on who I was trying to be. The confusion didn't come because I didn't know who I was trying to be. The confusion came with, but how do I become it?
Oh,
that was my.
So you were
struggle.
adamant.
I tell the story. I tell you all the time because I'm the same person that you met me at 12 years old. You would have met this person. Klambe not as beautifully articulate as I am now. You would have met the exact same person because I was always clear on who I'm trying to be who. So for me, varsity felt like a open field to, I can actually
be this person.
I can actually be this person. It's just that now, okay, I'm not sure. And again, I was surrounded by dreamers. That also actually, let me tell you a wild story. I remember visiting this lady in varsity, and she says to me, she has a friend who is in like third year or something like that, who's spoken to the people at the mall and they're willing to give her $1 million to start a business. And in my 16, 17-year-old brain, that was like, if she can
then I can do it as well.
You know? So for me, varsity was that.
Okay. For me, the reason I say I had an open field is because where I went, no one knew Uguti Ushaga was this person.
Right.
So I could step back from the greatness, the persona of who I was perceived to be, and actually be a rebel, nyana, for me. And just and I because there was always that rebellious part of me, and when going now to Stellenbosch, being away from home, being away from everyone. So I was like, let's try this out and see what happens. And I did try it out, and we saw what happened. It didn't happen correctly, but that's my story on what happened. And but now with the trying out, it's almost like the parts of you. I remember having a conversation. I don't know if it was with you or Umis Fanikad, but it's a thing of you get cleaned out. What happens on the outside world, now this is after high school, the parts of you that were not you, they were not attached to you. Good. So what everyone else had, Uguti, you're this person, and you kind of like carried that with you. As soon as you go out, it's like you get exposed and that gets washed out. So even in that process of me trying to be a rebel, that part of me, there was that process of those things that were being washed out, and Ubmina stood and stayed.
Who you really are.
Who I really are. Yeah. And then the funny thing that happened is now I have this me coming out, almost blossoming, but now it's fighting with what's happening now.
Right.
So that's where the Big Bang happened.
Because now it's fighting with the lifestyle you've sort of gotten used
now,
to, which is this is what I do, and now, but the real me is like,
it's showing
this is
up.
not
like,
what
no, this is not us.
This is not us, right?
It's not us.
And I wanted to talk to you also about with talking about the real you coming out. When you met the real you, which parts could you relate back to your parents?
Oh, a lot. I could see those things that my mom would constantly say. Like I remember having a moment where my mom will always say, you always say the closest thing to godliness is like cleansiness, like being clean, right? And she would always emphasize on how you need to organize your life, even start with your room, and that makes your life easier. And I could see me naturally doing those things as if my mom's voice is there to constantly. So it's those parts of me that I can almost say it's who I am, but it's the thing of sekwenzeka manje in a beautiful way where it's helping me in a sense, whereas the young me would hate it and the young me would push that away. But when I saw myself becoming exactly what my mom constantly taught me, and so I had that moment, I was like, this is beautiful. This is good. This is good. And then there were other parts where I could stupid thing. Growing up, I used to hate ama kepis lakobai. I used to like straight caps, right? But then I don't know where or how because my dad has a lot of those, and I saw myself say, I look good in these, and I actually like them.
Right.
So it's those small. There are certain small things that we see our parents in but it shows up. It shows up, and I think that's when I understood the whole thing of we live on. Like our parents and our great parents live on, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah. We live on through each other. And I wanted to now, speaking about parenting now in general, not specifically for Ushaga, right? When you look at parenting, specifically Black parenting, what breaks your heart with Black parenting?
Love.
What do you mean by that?
How we articulate Uguti, how I love you. How that's been articulated in the Black culture. It breaks my heart because we know how to love. We love beautifully, but we're not openly articulate with it. It's done in a almost like it's almost like chess, like it's strategic. It's I would take care of you. It's I would do all these other things, but I won't tell you that.
So what I'm hearing you say is when it comes to Black love in Black households
culture,
or in Black parenting, the love is not well articulated.
And it's hard love. You know what? Stupid thing.
It's enough love to survive.
It's the best love to survive. It's the best love for survival.
It's the best love for
almost
survival,
as if
not for thriving.
Exactly. Exactly. It's almost like we've pushed ourselves to the survival mode. We're so well at it. We're so good. We're masters of survival love, but it's like it doesn't suffice. It's not enough. There's more to love.
It's not love that overflows.
It isn't. It's survival love.
It's love.
It can sometimes overflow with survival mode.
Sure. It's enough love to just keep you going.
And it's sad, and that breaks my heart because I know how much I know how much my parents love me. But it's not easy love. It's almost, it's, yeah.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think, Oguti, Black people, Black communities, Black families, we give out hard love? We don't know how to, we don't give out love to thrive. We give out survival
love. I think it's because of what has happened in the past, but it's also a thing of definitely our history definitely contributes to it. But now it's also a thing of we're finding it hard to find defining who we are in the modern world.
So good.
And love comes with that.
So good. So we don't know who we are in the modern world. We don't know who we are when we are now, says Pumile, from our homesteads. And we're not poor.
We're
like
not.
That.
And we don't need to survive. It's
we
almost
don't
like
need to survive. Right.
We're okay now.
We're okay now. How do we don't know.
We don't know.
That's so profound. It's that whole thing of parents. Let me tell you a thing. Parents are let me not say most, but we are at a place where Black people are doing well. They can afford to take their children to these private schools. They can afford a certain lifestyle now, right? But we don't know how to live in that. We don't know how to thrive yet in that space. We know how to. We've figured out how to be in that room. We figured out how to speak the language, but we don't yet know how to.
It's the expression. And we show that not only just by love and emotion. We show that in everything that we do. We show that when we show up in our workplaces. I had an emotional. I had a very emotional. I don't think it was last week, where I was looking at the professor. I think she's the vice chancellor of UCT or whatever. I was looking at her and I could see my mom in her. And in my mind, I was like, oh, mama, if my mom was well educated, she would have been this person and greater. But because of her circumstances, and she hasn't. But now I was thinking on the thing of, why is it still hard for her to become this? It's almost a thing of, even if we in this open field now, we're finding it hard to become. We're finding it hard to play.
It's a that we carry an inferiority complex. Right?
It's as Darius Daniel says, the same devil that is on arrogance is the same devil that's on inadequacy. And that's what we're struggling with now. And it's there, and it's almost like a weight stinging palm. And then we wake up and we see we're okay now. We okay. Really are.
And then a tough one is, do you think we'll get better? Do you think we get to a place where we learn how to love better?
I don't know who your viewers are, Nam. And I don't mean they say this in a bad way, but Black people we always get there. It may take time, but we get there.
We'll get to a place where we know how to love.
Maybe not in our timeline. Maybe it's going to take years. But we always find a way.
We've survived.
Oh, man.
We've survived. We've come we've come a long way as a people. And we've survived the evolution.
We've survived the worst.
We've survived the worst.
But we find a way. I mean, I think we can all tap ourselves on the shoulder and say, like, listen, we've done well.
And I think also maybe when it comes to survival love and going back to how do we then become parents that can love their children, is I think there's a thing of we've got to love ourselves better. We've got to love ourselves. There's always a meme that goes around the internet where they talk about self-hate. They'll say self-hate is real, and there are Black people that hate that they're Black. There are Black people that are embarrassed by the fact that they're Black and what that comes with. And of course that you can't parent from that. You've got to parent from you have to have healed to become wena, and you've got to, there's glory, there's certain things that are glorious about being Black, that are beautiful, and you've got to, and we've got
you can only pass that on.
You can only pass it on if you know. You've got to. I think we've got to. There are things that we joke about that maybe have an element of truth that are actually we shouldn't joke about those things. Into 80, Black people can't run businesses. Black people steal money. Black people
are always late.
You get what I'm saying? Those negative traits
that we joke about and almost become norms.
That become norms. Black people can't lead countries. Which is not true, because Black people have been leading their villages and their homesteads for generations. You get what I'm saying?
But you know? While we're still there, what for me, I always give this a thought, because we're saying we've been leading tribes and whatever. But remember, I think we're finding it hard in defining of what Blackness is. Like, we all have this different ideas and version of what it is, and it's almost like we are not in sync. Like, even when we express ourselves, it's almost like we're just trying out because we don't know, because so much has been stolen away from us.
Which part is us?
Which part is us? And which part is new? We can still create new so long as new is us.
is authentic to who
You
we
know?
are.
It's like we don't know. We out there doing even the things, the cultural things that we do. Everyone's doing their own thing. I mean, all I say is, if black people they need to either really know about who we were, or we create us.
A new definition. I love that. But Mina, my conversation when it comes to just around being black, my conversation starts with we've got to see the beauty in who we are right now.
Yes.
There is beauty in who we are right now. There is beauty in, and there are certain things for me that, like, I look at the lady I call my sister. Like, I'm up bloodlines that are so far, but she's my sister, and on God, she's my sister. And there is nothing I love more, like our ability to mother those who are not our own and die for them as if they were. That for me, like, I don't know another culture. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? So that for me, those are things that I don't want us to lose, because again, that is love. That is love. That is love. The looking after, making sure everyone's okay. And
we've been doing that.
And we've been doing that for generations. That's tribe mentality. And so I think going back to how do we parent well, if you say our issue is the love, I think it has to start with, we've got to be people that are willing to love who we are, love where you're at, love because, and I think put blackness aside, I think just if we're talking about healthy parenting, you've got to be somebody who you love your life. That way you are able to pass that on.
I had this, remember after we had that chat about the hierarchy, hereditary. And then in my mind I was like, and then I gave it a thought and I meditated on it. And I had it's almost like an epiphany. Say Ushaga were to be a parent now. It's who I am now that I pass on.
Absolutely.
It made sense to me why elderly parents would love the children that they have as they were older. It's because umasebe badala, they've become themselves, and
the better version of themselves.
And the children that comes out of them at that time, they love them so much because that's them.
Like, you represent the better and the best version of who I am.
It's like the best, it's a epitome of, this is who I am. And when you see your child growing to become Guti, and it makes sense why they would love it's like, it should be like that.
It should be like that.
Because
you came at the time.
Exactly.
One, I was better, Senyas,
and
right?
Sure. And it made so much sense. And it made so much sense for me. And when I want to become a father, it's like, I need to become a father when I'm ready. Because then, whoever I bring to this world, you know what? Opumakshaka manje
is the best.
Is the ready one.
I agree so much. Uguti, you as you become, and again, it's not just children. Jay, your whole life. As you become better, your life becomes better.
So true.
But thank you. This was great. This is great.
This is good. But this was long.